So I like to give a big shout out to Lil Penny, Penny Hardaway, Anthony Hardaway, the whole Hardaway family, Tim Hardaway, Carl Hardaway, Janine Hardaway. You know what I'm saying? Like all of all our Hardaways worldwide. This is a Hardaway tribute pod, courtesy of our boy James Camp. James, you want to say a few words about Anthony?
Well, I'll say a few words about Anthony Hardaway. First of all, is that when I was younger, I think the first time I heard Anthony, I thought it was Anthony.
Yes, absolutely.
And how do you spell Anthony? ANFRERNE.
Two E's.
Double E. Anyway, no, I was just commenting on Oren's homage. Oren spent the week doing just a tribute to all the Hardaways on TikTok.
Yeah, it's been a deep dive. The research is taken, the team that's been involved, the creative agency behind it. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Reebok, shout out the gods. Can't wear them on foot, but I'll shout them out in the pod. Here's what it is.
But you did have most of the. I saw today was released the Hype Beast 100, and most of that list of people was involved in your Hardaway.
Yeah, well, most of the list of people was me. If you actually look at entries 37, 43, 66, 7 through 74, all of them are actually myself, which is my various incarnations. Although James and I were workshopping offers at like midnight last night, and he was gone off the industrial hemp. And I sent him I believe the offer was Magic Women and Money.
Bro, I haven't tapped in because I've showed it to somebody else because I was so fucking blown away by it.
But my favorite one about this is, so shout out old girl, she's definitely getting her bag. She helps women, untap the spiritual conscious to help them access money. And but what I sent over that was best, speaking of kind of the alter ego, was that you got your one-on-one session with her. Then you also got the one-on-one session with her DJ alter ego, which is just fire. Yeah.
Wait. They're both part of the same offer?
Here, I'll send you
her and
Colin,
the alter ego are both part of the same offer.
Wow.
But
yeah, so let me read it to you. Let me read it to you real quick. Right. Actually, yeah, Oren's in my chat. Where is it in here? Okay, hold on. So it says right here as part of the offer, and I wasn't sure what he's sending me at first. It says, inside this 6-month wealth expanding and money healing experience, ? Sick. Let me tell you what comes inside. One live money training with Natalia Benson. Shout out to the God. One live community connection call. This is what Oren was referencing. One live soul embodiment session with DJ Ninth Child. And then Oren continued to let me know that DJ Ninth Child is Natalia Benson, which I
sort of, which you wouldn't know if you were just on the lander. You have to be deep in the lore,
And then 6 one-on-one money success coaching sessions with Natalia Benson and MB certified. I'm assuming it's Natalia Benson certified money mentor.
When you're certifying with your own initials, that's hot. That's fine.
I was about to say, for $1,000, I will certify anyone to be a JC mentor. You know what I'm saying?
a G-class mentor.
A G-class mentor. The MWMM study portal, and then the private Instagram community. Private Instagram community means you follow an Instagram page. There's no communities on IG.
It's like a Montessori school. There's pictures of my kids and some chickens.
I do love the MWMM study portal. And like all jokes aside, like there's like a lot to and we could do an entire breakdown, not this pod, but of that offer and the messaging, because it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah,
it is an interesting offer, and I think it's just interesting when you think about how someone can rephrase something, right? Like that's just a community, right? Like that's just her normal community, right? I just call like in NanoFlips, I just call that the NanoFlips community, right? She calls it or the coursework, right? She calls it the MWMM study portal. Like a whole different, like a study portal is a different energy.
Yeah, and to be fair, this was like 10 racks. Like to get the one-on-one with the alter ego, the two others, it was like 9 racks.
Let me clarify it. So the one I just read off to you, which is the first one you sent me, that one is $400 a month or $2,000 for 6-month membership if you want to pay up front. There is one higher level. There's one higher level, and that one is $10,000 for 6 months or $1,899 a month, and that one does include one phone call with her directly, and I think that's the one you were referencing. That is $10,000.
I would love to like survey the customers of that when that second $1,900 payment hits.
Yeah,
no, but I do think. But it's funny because I actually came across this because I had a friend of mine who worked with me who was putting together her offer. It was a very female centric offer. One of our clients was a famous author. We were doing his funnel, and we were working on hers, and we found this as inspiration. But it became very apparent that there's this whole micro community around I'm trying to think of the right way to put this, and this actually ties to a meetup that James and I were at last week. But basically, it was like there's some level of like shame and morality around a certain generation of women who and achieving fiscal success and asking for raises and negotiating and like and it's just a mind demographic, and unlocking that is worth almost any amount, right? Because what's $10,000 in the scheme of like their raises now?
Dude, like, it's so crazy because what you're touching on even there is like the fucking line between complete and utter fucking bullshit and the absolute real magic that is mindset is so thin. Yeah, but there is a fucking difference. There really, really is. And to Oren's point, he said something that I think is really clutch for people to grasp onto if you're having like struggling and building your business and shit. Is that like when you can somehow convince yourself that this is all possible, or do whatever it is to remove the block that stops you from doing certain things. To Oren's point, like, that's worth way more than $10,000 fucking dollars, right? Like, it's just, it really, really, really is. But there is a fine line. And I think that if someone's not at the place, it's sort of like rehab. Like, if someone's not ready to quit, it's irrelevant whether they go to rehab or not, right? They'll go to rehab and they'll leave 100 times and they'll come back again and again and again. But like, there has to be, your mind just has to be, as someone who's like quit cigarettes and quit partying, quit everything in my life, like before, you have to just be in this mental place you're ready for. And I feel like the same thing about this mindset stuff is that like, if you're in the right place, the right talk from the right person, it doesn't even have to be a whole fucking 6 months. It could literally be one fucking speech from the right person.
I think that's where community comes in really well, because I think we all get these DMs, right? Where I'm sure you guys have this literally probably word for word the same ones, maybe even from these same people, but they're like, hey, I have all these ideas. I don't know where to start. Or I have this idea, but I can't start. And the 0 to 1, right? Like once you become a starter in your life, like everything else changes. And so if the price was, hey, guess what? Is $15,000. I'm going to put you in a community with 20 other people. And the only thing that they're going to do is be like, you know what? Like, bro, you need to start. Like, I believe in you. And then follow up on that every day. And then you don't even start for like 4 months. But then like the second payment of $100 hits. And then that day goes, and it's all fucking worth it. And that's the funny part, because of the exponential returns on the other side. And that's what's so magical about the concept of offers versus the concept of selling like some, tangible thing.
Totally. I think also there's like something to be said about, and Oren, you and I talk about this often, and Colin, you definitely know this about me. I've mentioned it to you both, but like,
Colin doesn't know that shit. Don't be real. He doesn't get it. You know what I'm saying? You got that game, bro. Yeah.
No, I was saying that like sometimes I will pay for things on purpose, right?
To make sure that it happens.
To make sure that it happens, right? Because the moment, and I even said something to Oren, this is a good segue. But I will say there's also another level. And I was talking to Oren about this actually the other day when we were at, and shout out to Chris and that meetup. Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to
Chris Munn in the shattered backboard dunks. You know what I'm saying? I see you, dog.
Doing his fucking thing. That was a cool little meetup. It was cool people. I think we've all yapped a big game about putting people together in real life, and he actually did it.
Short kings, tall kings, medium sized kings. They were all there, all present.
I will say,
that was a great laugh, James. That was a great.
It was deep coming up from. I mean, I sometimes forget because I'm 6'2". Colin, you're what, 6'3"? Oren 6'4"? Is that?
Yeah. 6'4.5". Thanks.
But my point is like we're all pretty tall, and so like Oren and I walk up to a place because we hang out in LA sometimes, and I'm just like, oh shit, like we're fucking tall.
Squad. What do we do? We play motherfucking sports.
yeah.
Especially now, because I mean, so James looking a little bit cutty. James is measuring out chicken breast on the scale. You know what I'm saying? And,
I actually I measured out on the scale today. That's what I gotta do. You know what I mean? Grams.
Yeah, and I'm a fighting boy, so we show up. People, guys are like, are they just in town? They get disqualified from the World Cup. And then they just stopped in LA on the way back to
for the record, I rode a 5K yesterday. By road, I mean on the rower, not on an electric bike, not on a bike. Yeah,
damn, bro, you rode
a 5K.
You know what that brings me back to?
Is there a better way to say that? Because
no, but it brings me back to Tab Talk when Oren was talking about. I know you all had it in the meeting, but who yells on a rowboat?
Oh, the coxswain.
The coxswain.
Yeah. I think what this really centers around, I think a lot of our young kings and queens need to understand out there is that maritime law is the only true law. Like when it really comes down to it, like the law of the sea, because ain't nothing there except you, God, and the water. You know what I mean?
That's it. And Poseidon.
Yeah. Who is the god of the water?
And the Kraken.
This actually
Morgan,
runs me back
Captain
to
Crunch.
Morgan.
In our restaurant tour days, we were working on a concept called Poseidon's Table, where it was all fresh seafood, but it was served to you by only old men. And it was going to be like, but anyway, so there's a Facebook page for it somewhere.
To sum up what I was saying before is that I think there's two. Sometimes I pay, and that's a good segue into the next segment. Sometimes I'll pay a contractor, I'll pay someone to do something because I know that like it just moves the ball forward. And the other side of that is that I feel myself included, right? And I don't want to pretend I'm above the fray. When I'm only beholden to myself, the problem is when you get a little bit of money, you become just beholden to, you're like, okay, my life is comfortable. When I'm only beholden to myself, I'm less likely to move the ball forward at all costs when I don't need to, right? Because my back's not against the wall. So there have been moments in my life where I've thought about taking like businesses that I own that do millions of dollars in revenue, that no need, that I get full on free fucking advice from the homies from, and just being like to going and finding five of them and being like, yo, here's 0.5% because I need some sort of accountability for this, right? It needs to be much more than just me. And so I think that there's like something to be said for all like the little homies out there, not little homies, all the ladies and gentlemen that are building
whatever
businesses,
size you are,
whatever size you are. I think it is interesting to think about like getting some people in your corner that you trust, that you believe in, and like equitizing them, right? And I don't mean like giving away some massive piece of your company, but give them a point, give them 1%, give them 0.5%, give them some reason to actually, actually help you and for you to feel like some sort of obligation to them. Anyway, so to transition, I often pay contractors earlier than I need to because I hate fucking doing certain things myself. And about 3 weeks ago, and all three of us, and anyone who writes a lot on Twitter gets a lot of DMs, right? People trying to sell them on services. And I know this happens to two of you guys, but I probably get anywhere between 10 and 30 DMs a week, maybe, about selling me on something. Sometimes it's just hi, and they're trying to open up the door to someone. Sometimes they're like, it's a strong first pitch. But I ignore like 98% of them, right? So if I do like a thread that's banging, I get so many DMs that I don't see 98% of them. But point is, when someone hit me up and it just happened to be the right time and they had the right offer. And I had been thinking about sort of growing, in terms of thinking about growing audience, you can obviously go paid, but there's clearly more opportunities to take some of the effort I've put into Twitter and translate it into other channels. So somebody hit me up and he just had the right offer at the right time. He's like, check it out, bro. I do LinkedIn growth. I'm just going to take your tweets. You've got thousands of them over the years. I'm going to take the most viral ones. We're going to screenshot them, structure, add a little intro, some wording, post them to LinkedIn. I'll then go into Taplio, people that engage. We will, I'll help you optimize your profile. I will then, like their comments, shit like that. Just random shit.
Good offer for James Camp. You're selling James Camp as a good offer.
It was a good offer. And so
he also gave you like a guarantee on the amount of email subs you're going to get or something, right?
Yeah. So I was like, listen, man, I think the KPI of followers is a vanity metric that I think people get caught up on. I'm much more interested in email subs. And he was like, I charge $1,550. And I was like, okay, bro, I'll give you $1,500 if you want to do this. He was like, okay, cool, let's do it. So I paid him $1,500, and it was probably the easiest sale of his life. He DM'd me. He was like,
what
7
is that
followers.
In euros right now?
I don't know, or yen or won.
Well, it's 124,000 rupees. I feel like it's more. You gave this guy 124,000 rupees, and all right, let's go.
Well, actually, to be clear, he's in fucking Canada, so he's not even. He's
shit.
like,
so you gave him like $11. Yeah,
I gave him like $11, but it's easy sale, right? Like I think probably sort of delusionally easy. Give me the right time. I bit. We hopped on a phone call 10 minutes later. I think I told you guys about it in our text chat, and I paid him just right.
Was he wearing a Cash Flow Syndicate T-shirt? In any of the
No, but one of the weird red flags was like when we FaceTime, like he was in this like dark room. In retrospect, he was in his dorm room. Nice kid, whatever. 3 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, and first he's like, he sends me his list of profile optimizations. They're literally like changing one fucking word in my profile, and it's like, okay, bro, whatever, fine.
Yeah, well, you did need to add your pronouns. It's fair.
Yeah, I did. We them boys. Shout out Jack Rains. But anyway, long story short, he really just didn't end up fulfilling any of it. He really, really didn't. And finally, yesterday, he 3 weeks in, he scheduled 5 posts of mine. And basically, I hit him and said, I was like, yeah, we got to talk. Anyway, I sort of bugged out on him, flipped out, and then I spent for 40 minutes, and the last 20 minutes of it, I just gave him business advice because I know what it's like. I don't think he's a scammer. I think he's a kid. And I was like, can you just refund my money? And he was like, oh, well, no. I was like, why? Did you spend it? And he's like, I did spend it. And I was like, okay. Well, what'd you spend it on? And he said, well, I was trying to scale. So this is the first red flag.
Is
already scaling.
Bro.
You know, he was like, I'm trying to scale my agency.
Like,
I was like,
I locked in James Camp. I got my marquee client. So now the next step, obviously, Moon. You know.
So I said to him, I was like, how many clients do you have? He's like, I have 3, including you. And I was like, bro, scale what? Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about?
Do the
like,
work, brother.
Yeah, do the work. Bro, I'm paying you $1,500 a month. You got 3 of me. Okay. Maybe it's 40 minutes of work each client a day, maybe an hour at most, probably 30 minutes. Let's say 2 hours aggregate a day, 5 days a week. LinkedIn's only cracking Monday through Friday, right? So he's got 10 hours of work a week. Okay. 40 hours a month to make $4,500 fucking dollars. Bro, you're 19 in college.
Don't
outsource
I was
that
working
shit.
Fucking Chick-fil-A and Abercrombie.
Yeah, bro. I was like, bro, you beat the system. You make more than your fucking professors at whatever shitty ass school you go to. I was like, I know you don't go to McGill.
Yeah.
I know you
Yale,
have
bro.
fucking,
I mean, I see that.
You know
Yale.
what I mean? Like, McGill's the only good school I know of in Canada. It just happens to be. I'm not saying
the drummer in my high school band went to McGill.
It's a great school. It's a great school. I mean, Oren actually was flexing on how dope his high school experience was the other day about his 10,000 followers on MySpace and his.
That was Arizona State, bro. That was just being a good looking dude from Hawaii in a band. You know, it's a
rap.
Yeah. Anyway, so I tried to give him a lot of advice at the end, and I said to him, I was like, listen, I can just do a chargeback. I'd rather not. Right. And so for everyone who's listening, is like one of the pitches about one reason I like credit cards other than points, as long as you can service the debt always. Because it's not your money, right? And so the banks are much more helpful at getting back money when it's theirs, right? So like, because I didn't spend my fucking money to pay them, I used a credit card. So the banks are like homies with each other. So they say like, right. Oh, give me that money back, and their other homie bank is like, oh, say less. Like, here's your money back.
I like how you broke that down for real.
That was good. Yeah, that was. I've never thought of it that way.
Yep. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I was like, listen, that's a nightmare for you. It's only going to make your life worse. And it's only makes my life worse. Banks don't want me to issue chargebacks, right? That looks bad for me. That means, like that's chaotic for them. Anyway, so I was like, take 24 hours, figure out how you want to solve this.
He's probably in my DMs trying to close me right now so he can get the money to pay you back.
You probably, break him off, bro. I'm trying to get my money back.
Bro, if I get reinforce,
But anyway, I think, it's funny because we have a couple homies, friends, acquaintances that really helped, I think, change a lot of people's lives on Twitter in the past couple of years. I mean that, right? In terms of like understanding cold outreach and understanding how to build like sort of small social media content agencies on Twitter and all that shit. And I think that what happens when people do so well in that space is you end up with a bunch of fucking kids who have no fucking clue what they're doing also. And I can tell you the harder part about running, and I've never really had a real agency, like in the way people think about agencies. I've had me and some contractors, but selling, if you're charming and smart at all, selling is not rocket science. Especially, right. I know he fucking read Purple Book, motherfucking Hormozy.
The gang can sell. We get it. Yep.
We get it. But fulfillment is a bitch, right?
Yep.
And fulfillment is not nearly as fucking fun. And I think that like what happens is we all become disillusioned to money. And the thing is, this kid's 19 years old, making $4,500 a month, times 12, $45,000, $54,000 a year. That's like the average American household income, right? Like while he's like going to fucking school and is 19 and can do it from his cell phone anywhere on the planet. And he got so fucking greedy with it. Oh, the other thing I asked where the money went was he paid a contractor who ditched him. And then for $500,
he can relate.
Yeah, he paid for $500 to do his job. And then the other side was, he said, I paid off some credit card debt from an e-com brand I have. And I was like, oh, bro. I was like, so
don't say
that. I paid your credit card bills. Anyway, I'm all for all the young kings coming out here and doing services. I think it's a great way to make your first money. And I just think that people think about scaling way too quickly. And even myself included, I'm 34. Luckily I have the money where I can throw money at people fixing things for me. But, like if you're not in that place yet and you're making 5-10 fucking racks a month, like that's sick money. You know what I mean? Like that's good money. I don't know why you're so worried about, like you should be, capped out before you start thinking about who you're hiring.
Yeah, seriously, do some work.
Do some fucking work. I was making $100 an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but the moral of the story is we're coming to Canada. Look, they might think just because we're three white guys in a pod that we don't know Hustle Crew, we don't know Deuce, we don't know the Crips, we don't know all the Canadian gangs. But trust me, brother, as soon as we touch down in Toronto, you know what I mean? As soon as that crisp
we are the touches the lip, boys, yo.
We're rolling right down there, bro. You know what I mean? We're going to
Kelowna, son. Get my squad from Kelowna. We rolling through, bro.
Yo, I hope you talk some sense into him. I think, like you said, you know, I guess I've never been there, but doesn't seem like necessarily like a bad person. Just seems like somebody who's being an idiot, and God knows we all had our moments when we were 19.
Dude, I'll tell you, when I was right after I had liquid offers, I had, and I think I've told you guys this shit. I really don't talk about this shit often, but I think it's worth telling a fucking shitty war story. I had a little sort of like SEO link building agency called Link Sumo, and it was doing really fucking well. Actually, I've had my first apartment. It was like paying my rent and all this shit in Manhattan. It was dope. I was young, and I was just having a good time partying and shit. And money would come in, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'll fucking do that tomorrow. I'll do." You know what I mean? I was not at all trying to scam anybody, but I ended up scamming people because I just didn't fucking fulfill when I promised them I would. You know, I just would flake. And so eventually, at first, I was like, "Cool, I'm making X amount $1,000 a month." Just I basically had a PBN, a private blog network that we'd sell backlinks on, and we'd create articles for it and shit like that for people. But yeah, I mean, eventually I got fucking in trouble. I'm not like with the law or something, but like places I was promoting it because people had paid. They're like, "Oh, this dude never fucking fulfilled my order." And y'all fucking know me. There is not one fiber of me trying to scam anyone. But when you're fucking 19, but when you're fucking 19 and you're fucking around and you're like, "Oh, I'll get to it tomorrow," right? Like, it feels totally fine. But you do that for enough days in a row, and all of a sudden, with enough people, and all of a sudden, you have fucked them over, right? And so I told this kid that story because that's how I know. That's why I had some empathy for him. Like, I've been there, bro. I don't think he was trying to fuck me.
And he was like, God, who is this guy telling me stories? Like, you're not my dad, James.
Uncle James.
So anyway, we all learn lessons.
You're just like holding it down for us as the weird old uncles of money Twitter, which is fucking sick.
You got to do it, man. You got to hold, you got to hold it down. I mean, I also can be fucking scary. I was scary to him, I think, in the first 20 minutes.
People don't understand. None of these, all these guys, all these other website flippers talking shit, they don't want to see James in real life. Yo, we some big ass dudes. Just like,
it's like not even, there's like, I remember when I was having, I won't even say his name, beef with that dude who was like talking shit at me on the internet. And I was like, bro, I know 100%. I'm 6'2", $190. I promise you, this little man does not fucking yapping his mouth off to my fucking face.
He's like 8% body fat. And also, we have anger management issues. It just is what it is. Like, we don't need to dive into this on the pod, but your bros are out here having some problems. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, man.
Like, I'm definitely that personality. I just take it, then just fucking snap. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel that, bro.
You know what I mean? No problem like that. You know? I know Kelsey's looking out the corner of her eye like, today the day.
Yeah, she shook. I won't get into the whole full story, but I once put a hole through a kitchen door and I didn't say anything to anyone. And then the people I was like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, just pulling fucking wood out of my hand. Just like literally like splintered. And I used to have a lot of more fucking anger problems. But anyway, so there was that lesson. Then there was another person who was like, it was just a weird day with younger folks trying to sell me shit in the DMs. I had this other person I've been looking for help with TikTok strategy. There's a there for TikTok with me. I get it, right? I know that there's a there. I would love some help in focus on what to put out. Oren's fucking laughing, which makes Colin laugh. Fuck you both.
No, you're there,
bro. But yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do.
And also, this goes back into what I said before about like once I pay them,
creating some accountability for
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like ready to fucking pay this person $2,000, and I was like, "Can we just hop on a quick Zoom?" Not because I don't like think they're decent at this. I just want to build rapport. Maybe I'm 34. It feels normal to me.
Yeah, it is normal. Yo. Quick summary on this. This is hysterical. And if you're listening, guy, or whoever you are, grow the fuck up.
So all right, let's get on Zoom. So I get on Zoom with them, and they're an anonymous account, which I get. I know tons of anonymous accounts, right? But they often. And this person said they're not going to dox themselves. I don't think it was fucking doxing.
Bro, nobody gives a fuck about you, cartoon Avi guy.
At all. So we hop on, and it's a blank screen, and it's a dark Zoom screen with the name and no name. And I was like...
You're like, hello?
I was like, hello? Are you there? They're like, oh, hey. And I was like, oh, hi, I'm James. You know? And I'm not going to say what the name they said, but let's just say it was like Silver. They're like, you can call me Silver. And I was like,
No,
nah.
I can't.
I was like, nah, I'm a grown up. They're like, first of all, they didn't want me to dox themselves, but how am I going to pay you, bro?
With fucking Bitcoin, obviously.
Well, so I said, do you
Dorks.
expect me to do it with crypto? And they were like, no, you can pay with Stripe. And I was like, you think that's not doxing yourself?
Yeah.
Like, Stripe is, if you're worried about the big boogeyman fucking having your info, don't worry about me. It's Stripe. Also, I'm sure if I called Stripe and was like, yo, can you please give me the address of this merchant that I just fucking paid $2,000
they'd give us
to?
your mom's address right now.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to.
So
there's
good.
no real beef with them. To each their own. I get it. They're uncomfortable. I know, dude. I was running fucking internet marketing forums. I was 17, fully anonymous, with the avatar of fucking Patrick Bateman screaming with blood on his face. So I get it. So
I would say it's so funny because every time that you talk about paying something for accountability, like I make a face because it's so intrinsically different than me. But it's also like we had a conversation last night. James were talking last night, and he's just like, you made me think because you're like, bro, like, how do you spend so much money? Like, doesn't that get you?
I was like, if I were you, I'd live. I was like, Oren, we make similar amounts of money, and I don't have a wife and a child, and I like live in terror every day about never having money again. And Oren's out here just like buying G-Wagons and shit. You know what I mean? I'm just like, what?
But it's just so funny the different approaches to money and like and all that impact. Because like to me, it's just so foreign to be like, oh, but paying for accountability. Like I'm paying for motherfucking Rick Owens. And the other, but like,
he was on that Hype Beast 100 by the way today.
And you're like paying for Rick Owens, like I'm paying for accountability. Yeah, it's just it's funny how
Well, I don't know about you, Colin, but like maybe you're in between the two of us. Like I have a toxic relationship with money. Like I love it, I'm good at making it, but like there's no question. Like the way that I live in fear, like I don't even know. Fucking 5 years ago, I had, I think I had a panic attack because I spent $300 at fucking Uniqlo. And that was like for all the clothes I was going to have for like 4 fucking years. You know what I mean? I was like, that's so much money, right? And now like I spend $300 on dinner almost every night, and it's like, I'm just saying we all go to the side of our pond so quickly. But like, and now I'm like, oh my God, if I don't fucking make $300,000 a year minimum, that's just my fucking burn post-tax. It's like, I need to be more healthy.
I got to keep I have to spend it to keep the edge on. Like obviously we have like all savings, all this other stuff too, but like, that motivation to go like do the next thing is like what keeps it rolling. It's like, yo, we want to go to the Maldives in March. Like fuck, what else can I do? Like it's like the opposite.
I just rarely worry about anything. And I think some
fair,
No, I think sometimes to a detriment, but like, yo, like you could like strip me naked and throw me in a desert, and within 48 hours, like I'd be okay. And so I'm fine. Like what's the worst thing that could happen? Like no. like really, like what's the worst thing that could happen? If my family's good, I'm good. Well, like it's fine.
Well, your family won't be good if you're fucking in the desert naked. But I feel you. I get the energy.
Are they there in this fictional scenario, or is there like is there a camel?
I'll tell you. I used to always say, and this is a weird comp because it doesn't make sense in 2022. But when we were like, because we're all the same age, when we were like 12 or 13. Getting dropped off in China would have been the craziest shit ever, right? Like now you have cell phones and shit, right? But I used to tell people like, if you could drop me on the corner and somewhere in China, and I'd figure out how to fucking make money.
I'd make
like
$1 out 50 cents, bro. I'd take that 8 back green to a half. You know what I mean?
Dude, I was selling tray bags in Staten Island when I was 15, dog. You know what I mean?
I mean, him and Pete Davidson.
But like I was selling bros in the rain, dude. I was for real though. I was that kid like me, buying water bottles and then selling them in Central Park. You know what I mean? Like, so I'd figure out how to do it. But I do think, and I think it's sometimes a nice reminder when I talk to you guys, and Colin, when you say something like that, because it's like, yeah, like even the other day I got offered a job, right? Someone was like, oh, I want to give you this job. And I was like, I don't want a fucking job, right? And so realistically, there's no way I'm ever going to be in the dire straits I've been in before. But it is sort of, I do need to have a better relationship with it because it's just becomes toxic. It's like bad energy. And sort of if you believe in that money, what's that offer, Oren? The magical money and women and money membership?
Magical women and money.
Magical women and money. One of the fucking parts of that offer, and I'll find it for y'all, is like, it sounds cheesy to me, but like I kind of get it, right? Like people have toxic relationships with money.
1,000%. I actually think this is a valuable offer, and she presents it extremely well. It's just bundled up in this like corny thing that like makes dudes be like, bruh.
Yeah, well, one of the first part of here's some examples of trainings are astrology and tarot for money. Let me tell you right now, dog. Like the tarot
I
for
ain't
money
pulling no
hustle.
cards to this bank account. Let me tell you about that. You know what I mean?
All the cards I'm pulling are platinum.
Yeah,
I'm saying? Centurion,
that 4 cups ain't gonna get me to invest in Doge again.
Dogie.
What I will say to some of my fucking rants about this is that this actually is fucking beautifully circles back into what we were talking about initially, with sort of like the very fine line of mindset and bullshit, right? Because like this feels ethereal and bullshitty, but I can promise you, like there is a reality. And I went down this path a couple years ago about like psychology of money shit, and like why people believe in tithing, for example, giving away 10-20% of your money, because if you can connect money with being positive and helping others, then there's nothing that holds you back from trying to get it, right? And so like,
I mean, if my pastor can have a rules, then it's all good.
and to go along with that is like we're always raised to say these terrible things, like deeply, like words or spells type shit. I believe that, the 4 agreements, words or spells. When you're raised to believe that, like money is the root of all evil, you know what I mean? Like things like these sayings that we learn, like that shit is ingrained into you from childhood. And so I think it creates weird dynamics of people in which they think that making lots of money is bad, right? And that there's something inherently wrong with it. And then subconsciously you sort of pull yourself away from trying to make lots of fucking money. So anyway, that's
this did just give me an idea that I think we should do a mashup book. It's called $400 million Agreements, and it's the 4 agreements means $100 million offers. and doesn't
that'd
no
be a
sense.
Killer book, actually. That'd be a killer book. It's so funny though. The purple book, $100 million offers, has been so permeated our fucking world. Like everyone, like even that guy who took my money, he's like, Oren's got his fucking head.
I got a call on the day, and I was referring to a page. He was like, yo, what page is that? I'm like, yo, it's in my bag. I'm gonna go grab the page.
I'm like writing it.
Page 37, section B. I have that written down. But even this kid who took my money, even when today, I was like, bro, let me get a refund. He goes, listen, man, I'm happy just to work with you until we reach the subscribers on LinkedIn that we said. And I was like, bro, I also read fucking Purple Book, but I don't believe you're gonna fucking do this shit. You know what I mean? So anyway,
are you gonna camp out in this gym for 4 summers?